Hi everybody, and welcome to part 2 of our full album review for Company Flow's Funcrusher Plus, which means there is so much plus fun when we crush every song of this album. And by crush, I mean talk about it as we do our track-by-track album review for Company Flow's Funcrusher Plus. Google, are you happy? We said it a lot and sounded awkward. My name is Holden Stephan Roy.
I am your lady friend Bonnie.
And yeah, we're super excited. This is part 2. Well, I'm really excited. Bonnie might not be as much. As you'll learn if you watch part 1.
I'm mediocrely excited.
And while part 1, as of recording this, is not officially released, it was uploaded into the back end for the little Patreon folk who can watch it a little bit early.
Yep.
And we got a favorite comment on that video because it's been a while since we had a favorite comment here. So this is from Ismail Gadamsi. One of my favorite album covers. And I get it, because it's a dope-ass album cover.
Of course.
Very cool.
You like quirky things.
It's a great album cover. It's so
I know,
detailed.
It's
memorable.
It suits what he likes. I like it.
But it's also memorable, and it's artful, and it fits the project. And anyway, all I have to say, if you want to hear us talk about it.
It's got good colors. I like the coloring.
With greater detail, part 1. In the meantime, there's still 10 whole songs, of which maybe a couple are a little smaller than a full song. And that shit is definitive. It's the very first time I've heard this project. I've had a certain line stuck in my head. Just not, like, it just keeps popping in all day long, just here and there. I can suck a cookie out of pussy, no question. I just really like that. I guess cookie is also a euphemism for pussy. I don't know.
Because it's sweet.
I don't really know exactly what cookie is in this context, but I just kind of picture him eating some pussy and being somewhat like boss about it. And I kind of find that stand out in a world of rappers who never want to use their tongue as a deadly weapon to get what they want out of somebody, because you can do that for a while. And usually people are more appreciative than other things, is what I'm trying to say.
There's a tip for you guys.
This is back to production from LP, as Big Jess had done this song where he told me to fuck off because I didn't really know graffiti art history. But why don't you go through your part where you tell us how this song is awesome.
So this one is interesting because it sounds like what's that song? Like what's that? It's like that video game about like the end of the world with like the alarms and all that, and they're all like cartoons from like the 50s and whatever.
Fallout?
Yeah, that one. That's what that sounds like.
Okay.
So if you know what that sounds like, that's what it sounds like.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, doesn't it?
I sort of.
Yeah. I feel like I've heard you playing it. That's what it sounds like.
To me, when I hear Fallout, I picture 50s music.
Okay, yeah.
But that's because the in-game music is that. But I could also like close my eyes and picture playing Fallout to this.
See? It's perfect. And it's just about them being great and destroying other rappers. Not too much like of a variety here so far, but like it's consistent. There's some interesting lines on this one. But it's just about like New York and just kind of like things that he knows and like what, I don't know. That's it. I don't really have too much else to say. I give this a 4 on 5.
Just for the context for folk, Bonnie basically went through the whole first part of the first part going, well, I don't know that I feel it. So Bonnie's not feeling it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, y'all. I got you.
And I love LP. It's not his best. Not yet. But he was a young kid.
You gotta understand that this is fire and Bonnie's just saying stuff.
I know. I'm the odd man.
It's okay. You're not.
Odd woman. Sorry.
Anyway, Bonnie likes Run the Jewels too.
Sure do.
That's what we can say.
Yeah.
By comparison, this is a little bit grimier and grittier and like down and nasty.
That's what it is.
So like Run the Jewels 2 has a condom on and it's all safe. This is some cream pie bareback shit.
Okay. Sure.
It's just more rugged. Anyway, I feel like this just kind of follows through on how he's like the shit, because pretty much with some very few exceptions, every song on this album, from what I can tell, is them dropping hella hard bars with real interesting dynamic flows. Like sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower, but usually even like within the context of the same like verse, it'll pick up, it'll slow down, it'll like be alive, and it just feels so tight and so well put together. But it also kind of feels like they could have just like off the dome the entire album, like the entire thing could have been a freestyle.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the case, but it feels like it could be, and I think that truly makes it extra fresh. Plus the production's like really engaging, really headbanging, really like just sucks you in. I mean, I don't know, but I am left with a question that like it's the kind of thing that's really hard to Google because it happened in 97, so people didn't necessarily have those blogs up yet. But
right.
What did he censor? Like, it seems like these guys are willing to say anything. So there's only one word I can think of that they would feel obliged to censor. Or maybe they said a name or something. But he goes at one point, and that's half-baked. You never get a buck when you act. L-P is serving. We smash. And I'm like, I mean, maybe it's the word. I mean, what was censored here? I'm so like I've been puzzling over that for a minute because I'm like, literally a little bit later on he goes, be a bootleg when building up a fat nest egg. I say fuck you, it's easy. Say it again, fuck you, which I love, by the way. Just the aggressiveness, like the blunt brazenness of it all. Yep. The attitude is I don't even give a fuck, yet that has a censored word. So it really just, I mean, I'm not implying anything.
Maybe they just did it for like to get the attention of it.
I don't know. I'm just wondering if anyone knows what it is. I mean, I'm certain if I dig enough on Google, I'll find it, but I didn't. Anyway, I just love the way he flows through with the line still. This one just feels like I'm getting punched in the face the entire way through, but like in a good way. Like ease back before I make position to squeeze the head burner cooking, and man, no thought might grab my phallus. Please, I pump kinetics with unintentional malice. Want to battle, one of us is ending up in God's palace. So right away, he's coming in hard. He's ready to squeeze. He's ready to pop off. Great bars, deliver what he's got to do. And if you want to battle, you're gonna die. That's basically what he's claiming here. But it's just the elegance and the attitude, right? Because even if LP can't throw a punch in his life, it doesn't matter, because when you listen to this, you just picture him. I feel like he's short.
Maybe he's like one of those like little boxers.
And I feel like he's knocking up people 3 feet taller than him. That's what I feel like when I listen to this.
Well, he's very like big in like,
yeah.
Like when he, you know, like when he walks in like into like a room, like, you know, he fills the room, sort of, if you know what I mean. Like he has like that confidence that like oozes off of him and stuff like that.
Fair enough. And I agree. And I think he's just like, he just comes off powerful. But he also just is like, it's just clever shit. Like, doubt my shit's official to megaton missile biocomputer virus with flesh eating potential. That's just dope because it kind of plays up on advanced military weaponry. You know, bio shit would have been kind of on the, I think that was more of a hot topic 20 years ago than it is today. Although crazily enough, we should be more scared of bioweapons today than back then, because you can get CRISPR kits and do genetic shits real quick at home if you were a biologist.
Sure.
Anyway, and then he goes, and so I just like how creative it is. And then he's like, I'm convinced future MCs are sending robots back in time. And then he just gets all like kind of spastic there. So it's like he had this calmer, steady flow. And then over here, like we're like, what, a few bars later? And he's already flipped it up into something more crazy. That's what I was describing a little bit earlier on. But he goes, future MCs are sending robots back in time as we speak to kill my mother before I'm born. Be warned. Now that's cool, because that's a Terminator reference. That's basically, I think, the plot of Terminator 2. It might be 1. I think it's 2, though.
Okay.
Where he goes back in time to kill Sarah Connor to stop John Connor from being... I think it's John Connor. I might be wrong. It's been a really long time since I've watched Terminator. Still, that's the plot of one of the Terminator movies, and he's implying that he's so fucking powerful that the robots of the futures, as implying the clone MCs, the corporate fucks, are desperate enough to invent time travel to go back in time and kill his mother so he can't be born because he's such a threat to the rap industry.
That's cool.
That's why it's a dope bar.
Okay, yeah.
I'll give it to you. If you don't know the plot of Terminator, that might have just not seemed cool. But I think at this point in time, everybody that was at least male had seen Terminator. And then a lot of people like Arnie, you know. Anyway, I just thought like it's just that kind of creativeness. And again, like I don't know how much I want to go through it bar by bar by bar the entire way through because it might just take forever and Bonnie will kill me. But there's just still so many great ones that have to be brought up because I'm a bit of a geek, right? So eliminate pretense, turn rocks to sand. You're rocking low budget Doctor Who special effects, and that's half baked. You never get a buck when you act. So what's cool about that is because I've seen the 1960s old low school, old budget Doctor Who special effects, and they're really corny and awful because that's what they are. So it's just fun.
That's what they did.
Because what I like about it is how he's drawing from so many different inspirations. Like, you know that both LP and Big Just on this project are coming through with a level of intellect where, like, I don't know if they watched a bunch of documentaries, read a bunch of books, exactly what it is, but they are knowledgeable peoples. Anyway, and then the fact is it's half baked because the credits are crap, which is cool. Just like it's not fully cooked, it's not great enough. And then that you never get a buck when you act. So when you're up there doing your shit, at the end of the day, when the labels is all said and done, you're not even getting paid for being the performer that you are. Like, it's just when you deconstruct the lines, man, I mean, bar for bar, it's dope. Like, I mean, I got my dick in the mouth all day. That's got a vibe. I feel it. But I don't feel like LP punched me in the face on Run the Jewels 2 to the same degree that he punched me on the face on this project. I mean, because, let's be real.
Maybe I just don't want to be punched in the face.
As you get a little bit older, you get a little bit more calm. So a little 24-year-old testosterone-driven mom, I don't know how old he was, like around that age, fucking blasting through. You just picture him liquored up every day, fucking busting freestyles, just being an ill MC. Gosh, it's fun. And I like the fact that they sample KRS-One with the live and direct, which is cool because it's going back to like proper older school, giving homage to...
He does that, I mean, like a few times, like on the album, and I know, I appreciate that.
I think it's just, it inspires me that that's like the right way to pay respect as opposed to people who might go out of their way to not do it, to pretend that they invent everything, which isn't how creativity works. Fun fact on a tangent, if you read a bunch of like books and shit that look at creativity from like a more scientific perspective, you can boil creativity down to combining other people's ideas.
And like building on them.
Yeah, but that means that there's almost no such thing as you came up with something. All you did was combine people's ideas in a new order, and that's new enough.
I guess.
Pretty much. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but like even this podcast format, I stole it from Rock Critic and Muse. They were doing long-ass album reviews, and I was listening to them at work, and I was like, well... You know, like this.
There we go.
Granted, I did something different with it by combining elements of other sources and things like that. Mm-hmm. But there's no such thing as an idea that you weren't inspired by. So the fact that they're giving recognition to inspirations in their music is mad fresh to me. I don't know. It's really cool.
That's cool.
I rock prisons in different downtowns, tainted blood donor, busted melody, surround sound. I don't know. I can't really break it down too well, but the way he just flows it together, puts this imagery in your mind. Like, I hear I rock prisms. I don't know why, but I have, like, pictures of colors and glass and light flowing around, so it's almost like a crazy show in my mind. He's a left-wing extremist hip-hop militia, bitches suck the penis, competition, call me mister. I don't know, man, just the bluntness with it. Like, my political ideology... I respect it. I respect that shit a lot. A young me was a left-wing extremist. Now I'm more of a left-center old man. Hip-hop militia. I'm old man. But I respect it. Like, I kind of almost, like, I feel like listening to this gets me in touch with that anger and passion to go fucking fight some shit like I'm supposed to. Which is something people in their 30s don't like doing a lot. And then just following it up, like, yeah, women suck the cock. Men, give me the respect. And I like that. It's just this confidence that he drops through it. Overall, this track is really freaking great. But yeah, there's still a whole third verse.
Yep, it just keeps on going, folks.
But it's dope because it's like, because we had a couple big just solo ones, and I might be wrong, but I think this is the first like LP full-length solo no Big Just track. There's the one where it had Jade Treads or whoever that was featured, but just LP for 3 full verses. I don't know.
Maybe not.
It's a pretty like lengthy track, but if you're feeling the bars, It's dope. Like, my style is War and Peace. Your shit is just the Cliff Notes. That's an amazing line to me, right? Because I read not War and Peace, but Crime and Punishment last year, and that is a very... The guy has paragraphs, folks, that was 2.5 pages long. As in, you started reading here, I had to go like past the whole page flip to get to the end of the next paragraph. Usually you read till like a paragraph, take a little break, see or whatever. I was just... So his verses are like lengthy, non-stop bars for days, like Dostoevsky or however you say his name.
Dostoevsky.
That guy. Verses, especially in an era now where it seems like I really like Old Town Road. I really, really do. But there are maybe 16 bars in total that Lil Nas X came up with that's not a hook in that track. And they're really like, riding on a tractor, lean all in my bladder. Like, you're like... It's just like... It's the Cliff Notes compared to the War and Peace.
True.
So, I love shitty pop music. And I love screaming out the "Can't Nobody Tell Me Nothing" line because I feel like a petulant child there. But yo, I just... There's a part of me that wishes people in like a more pop sphere would really dig this level of like linguistic fuckery. Right? Like, that's just my thing. Like, walking erection, feeding out for female affection. Like, that's just a clever way, you know, to describe what other rappers will be like. I throw bandos at the hoe. Okay, but, you know, walking erection, feeding for female affection is just fresher. It's just, it rhymes, it flows. It's just everything about the way it comes through. I don't know. Overall, this track is just another wonderful one. I'm just looking if there's anything else. Oh, I like when he goes, try to keep my lyrics short and fat like Joe Pesci. Because you really feel it. It's that like punchy feel to them. And the witty little one-liners. But, and again, I guess because I might forget to say it, and I did say it in part one, but like the way he construes the one-liners moves the narrative. And if, as I've come to see, that's my favorite kind of top-tier poetry, bar-driven rhyming. Like, if you're gonna do the one-liner thing and you can move the narrative along, and at the end of the day I'm sitting there re-listening, new lines is popping out at me every time, it's freaking amazing. I get this track a 4.5.
Okay.
You might go, why not a 5? Because there are better versions on this album. Like, there's a few of them I think are 5s, and this one is a little bit less good to me compared to the ones that I thought were 5s.
Well, that sounds pretty definitive.
And what did you give it?
A 4 on 5. Ooh,
Bonnie liked this one, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
How do you say the next one?
Lencorcism?
Lencorcism? All right, you guys ready for another 20 straight minutes talking about a track?
Nope.
No, it's like 30-second little instrumental break, excellent scratching, excellent composition, super well put together. It's like a palate cleanser, and I like that about it. I don't have a lot more to say. What do you think about it?
Yeah, basically the same. It's an instrumental. It's fine. Whatever. There's some scratching. It's short. I gave it a 3.8 on 5.
I couldn't figure out what Lencorcism actually means, so internet, if you know with your slang knowledge that's greater than mine, feel free. But anytime I googled it, it would direct me to this song and empty lyric pages because it just says instrumental everywhere. I gave it a 4.25 just because I like it, but I feel like I don't know. I'm okay with the bars for days, and artistically I appreciate the benefit of a palette cleanser like this, but
well,
it was just kind of short.
Why don't we just change the channel to like 89.9 Detrimental?
So this one is like a little freestyle on the reel. Apparently it's a radio freestyle. And it borrowed the beat from the next track, and then it was just like he kind of called in and did that. This is what Genius is telling me, and we all know Genius can be wrong, so if it's wrong, you guys can let me know.
Yeah.
But it's just this quick fucking flow, and it actually makes sense because there is a line in this freestyle that gets like used in a later track, and it really stood out to me because I really liked the line. It's the gingivitis one. I'm just looking for it. Either way, motherfucking Tourette. Anyway, I'll find the line in a second when we go through it. But that lyric basically gets reused later on, and it made me wonder about like how people write or general. Like, do you just freestyle and come up with like great lines and put them in like just the individual bars, the one-liners, the puns, and you collect those and then stream them together, and then over time it's like because you love these puns and these bars so much, you just keep using them again and again because they're so fucking tight. They can be put into multiple different things and you try them out and stuff. And like, because I mean, at that point, it's like, how else do you end up with that point where you, because he uses the same bar twice, and it's not to me a bad thing because it sounds fresh both times, and it's almost like a little hook that calls you back to another part of the album in like a good way. But usually people do that shit in more of a intro, one line, like a deliberate, like pay attention, and this is just more like LP was rapping and that line made sense.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, what did you think about this one?
This one was just like kind of bleh to me. Like, I don't know. I didn't really like this one so much. This was more about him being the best and like destroying other rappers. I mean, more of the same.
Like LP's crushing shit.
But it just sounded like him like yelling at me. So maybe I just wasn't a fan of it. The beat was fine. I give this a 3.9 on 5.
I'm like really into it because again the bars are fire. Just like from the jump, for all intents and purposes, a ramrod. I'm like, that's a cool like word, ramrod. Like, I'm not 1,000% sure if I've ever used it myself, but you can just picture like ramming a rod, like fucking ferocity, like just the language invokes shit in a way. And then resonate pussy rapper, get the long donkey cock. Because you did picture sex with Ramrod, and then he pulls it in that basically his donkey-ass dick is smacking down other little weak-ass rappers, and like, with his rap skill. I keep telethon MCs clinging to Jerry's person. Come on, man. Jerry Lewis's fucking telethon when he would run all day, and he's kind of, anyway, there's another good line. Motherfucking Tourette syndrome MC can't freestyle without rehearsing. Jerry Lewis's telethon was to do research for Tourette syndrome, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Okay. So like it's connected. Like they're not just bullshit lines. That's why they're fucking dope.
But like maybe like that's why for me like it doesn't like with like stand up to like the the test of time, because like maybe in like 1996 would you have had to know that, or I don't know.
I mean, my mom loved it, so we watched it every year till it stopped happening.
Okay.
My mom loved the Jerry Lewis telethon, so it was like a part of me growing up, so I know what the bar is. But it's at the same time like, I mean, yeah, you might not catch every little line, but if you looked up Jerry's telethon, you would have figured it, Googled it, which, yeah, it does put a little bit of effort into digging into what the lyrics mean. I understand that not everybody wants to do that, but it's like, this to me is poetry analysis. It's the same shit that you do in college when you sit there and like, there's something there is that always loves a wall, and whatever fucking poem you're doing. I think that was Robert Frost. I may have butchered it. That's like one of the only poems I can ever remember. But I never did this like in class. I always hated poetry analysis because it is a bit of, like mental effort until we started getting. Even if you watch the beginning of this channel, like this isn't something that came naturally even to me. Like it took so long of learning and reading and understanding English better, and then hearing just people in the comments explaining why bars are dope and understanding you gotta like double entendres. But again, for me, it's about respecting the language use. Like, who the fuck writes like this?
Yeah.
Like, if this was just a literary essay that you had to break down in school, it's fire. Like, this is better than half the shit they made me read. Like, Catcher in the Rye does some cool shit to capture angst. This shit captures rage in the same kind of way to me. In like fucking fire, bravado. Like, maybe because you're not a man, you don't feel that desire to puff your chest up and fucking smash out sometimes to the same.
Sometimes I get angry.
So next time you want to smash some shit, throw on LP's virus over here and see if he doesn't fucking feel like you want to punch with him or something. Like, I don't know what it is, but like to me it just feels like, I'll be honest, this just feels like fueled testosterone slamming through on every fucking line.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
But and then the idea of Tourette syndrome MCs can't freestyle without rehearsing, meaning that if they try to freestyle as a rapper, They're going to start, like, stuttering, like, when I fuck up and my mind blanks on this podcast here and there. But, like, the fact is, they're not able to, off the dome, come in and drop some shit and bust out a freestyle the way LP just did this whole verse. Fucking fresh. Just fucking spit it, you know?
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that a lot. And then rappers got on colored contacts, but they better real eyes. Tell me that's not, like, amazing, right?
Yeah.
Because colored contacts changes your things, but now instead of real eyes, as in take off your contacts, show us real, but you better realize the respect, because contact code flow shit equals L big just distortion. Aight, shout out the group. Try to murk off on our pile, but got choked up on my fucking portion, keeping the rhyming over, but people tried to come at them, got taken down. You had to scream, got my name up in your mouth like cock or gingivitis, when every rhyme becomes the official new blueprint for wannabe writers. That's the one that gets repeated, that gingivitis shit, but it's fucking fire. Like, people are just trying to get all up on his shit. He's like, whatever, y'all are just disgusting, but just cock-sucking people, you're all full like fucking disease. And then everybody's trying to cop flows and stuff. And then he keeps it going on through. It's fucking great. I just felt like it serves really well as an intro to the next track, and I liked it a lot. So I give it a 4.5, and I think if it had just been attached and flowed through, it would be cool. But there is a sound quality difference. It does feel like, whereas the other ones, it could be a freestyle. You knew this was a freestyle the first time you heard it. Well, I did. You might not have known.
Okay, yeah.
So what did you give this 4.5 awesome track?
I gave this one a 3.9. 3.9 is what I gave it.
You know what? You're just hitting some vital nerves with your bad grades.
I sure am.
And then it's like this track kicks in. The beat, like, it's almost like the beat drops, like in an EDM song or something. Kicks in full effect, cleans up. Soon you'll see. And as I flow fluently to frequently, another MC will drop off the face of this earth. And then I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna be yet another song. A hot day to shit, full of bars, murking other rappers.
Yep.
Bonnie's like, oh yeah, love it. I like that. I like the way the way that he fucking bounces on that intro, because it has this gritty griminess and it flows into this smooth, almost like, I want to say pop, but like bouncier.
It is definitely bouncy, but I think that's a good word to like describe
I've been the nastiest one since birth, and then New York is number one in the house. And just fucking shouts it out. Like, it just feels so hip hop to me. It just feels so fucking proper. And then LP's back, and LP does 3 of the 4 verses. We do get a friend on this.
Yep.
It is BMS, and I'm not sure who BMS is, but the verse is
Buddy Slim.
Fair. I still don't know who that is, and I just know that it's pretty fucking tight and it fits really well on this song. But what do you think before I talk?
Speaking of Buddy Slim, I really liked him. I think he does a really good job. I like his kind of like style and like his sound. It works well with this one. I like the chorus on this one. The beat is more fun. Like, you know, maybe because you did say it's more poppy, like maybe like that's why I like it. But you know, it's still like, it's quirky while still being like relatively simple in sound. Like, it's not like it doesn't sound like it took like too much work to get that like sound, like, but like it's cool that they used it, I guess, you know what I mean? And it's basically them like performing on this one, and I feel like this one is nice and I don't hate it, so yay. I like some of the lyrics. I like that there was like some political things that they threw in, and I don't know. I like this one. I give this a 4.4 on 5. There you go. It's like my highest grade.
Fair enough. I think this song's fire. I mean, straight off the jump, 5 on 5. This song's like flawless to me. It is like, this to me is like a high end of it. I don't mean any disrespect to the other tracks. This is just preferences and stuff. But I'll do the simple straight harder than Hoffa, El the Maladjusted MC, Funcrusher. Right off the jump, I don't know. I like it a lot. Strikes harder than Hoffa. I believe that's the hitman for the mob, Hoffa, who I've watched, if I'm not mistaken, him or his son talking to people in podcast as the old mob men proceed to make a shit ton of money snitching. Yo, just Google it, man.
Bad.
So what
guy.
happens when a bunch of 50-year-olds who get out of jail get on Facebook? It's just like your parents. It's literally just like your parents. When your parents start, like, everybody's parents had their little first Facebook beef. 10 years after the rest of us were way past Facebook beefs. But these guys are like mob bosses making money, talking shit about each other on podcasts and stuff. It's just
ridiculous.
I mean, I think it's funny. Anyway, if y'all want me to talk about this, I guess we can make another video talking about that kind of shit another time. Still, I can see how if you don't know who Hoffa is, the line goes over your head, but he killed like 50 people for the mob, heavy hitter, right? Yeah. So he's basically a hitman.
Well, I feel like he's like a name that people know.
I could see how a bunch of kids don't know. Because he's like a long time ago. Like, he was connected to a dude who was getting arrested a bunch when we were young. Teflon Don dude, I think.
I don't think I know who that is.
If I'm off on my mob history, I'm okay with being wrong. Either way, massive. Aside from my condition, automatic. Gold Star Connect thoughts got jostled at your position. And that's cool because Gold Star is like that old GPS service, I think, like prior to Google Maps, and you would use Gold. Okay. And then that can connect the thoughts to your position, etc. So
okay, like a GPS.
And again, it's like line by line by line. It's just so well written. It's just so interesting to me. I like when he's just like, Doc Jekyll, when I burn your paragraph down to a haiku. That's just a fucking cool line. Like, he snaps into his evil mode, and you came up with your bars, and he strips it down to, what is it, 13 syllables? Yep. That's fucking, no, it's more syllables. 5, 5, 7. That's 17 syllables.
Okay.
So Tootsie Roll motherfuck back to your seat because I don't like you. That's just hilarious. It just kind of makes you even seem weaker because he's calling you candy that looks like shit. You know, like, it's just fucking great. I got 100 beats on Nice It in Your Joint. And that's fair, because he actually does make beats. Even if you don't like his rhymes, he can just fucking drop an instrumental and it marks you as a rapper. Then he goes, karaoke MCs need not receive G's, that's the whole point. And I'm like, hold up, man. Karaoke got me to fucking Just for Laughs in Montreal, and I respect karaoke, but to be fair, I can also do little freestyles if I have to, standing outside the bar doing my thing. I could also write a song, so I get what he's trying to say. People who are just fucking fake as fuck, copying styles, whatever, but I am all for karaoke as an art form, and motherfuckers just...
And it's fun.
And it's just fun to spit, like, shit, but, like, I don't know. You guys can let me know what you think about that. I know what he's saying with karaoke MCs. I took it way more literally than what he was implying with his excellent metaphor, may I add. Be out within the crowd, get open like herpes simplex sores. And I'm like, no shit, right? It's calling you fake enough that you're going to get exposed like when herpes shows up and you can't hide it. I'm like, this is fucking fantastic. And then I like the hook, man. Soon you'll see it's outflow. It's just fucking great. I think we already did that, and then it makes it a little longer. LP does the second verse. Stay fresh in Ziploc. Money plot hatcher. Like, it's just lines like that. How the fuck you gonna bring a go-kart to the Grand Prix? He. I'm like, he did. And he made it sound fucking hard as fuck.
And Grand Prix, Montreal. That's right.
But, like, also just the comparing your weak bars or the go-karts to my Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And it's just creative because, like, how often do you hear somebody throw it in? Maybe that one line doesn't work, fine. Laughter, enter, irreconcilable disaster. I'ma protect mine like a Japanese fighting sticks master. And you're just like, again, like, check it. He makes it rhyme, and he's throwing bars at you that are just fucking out there. Rappers be like, oh, chillax, bro. I sunk your battleship. It's fucking hard. Everybody knows what that is. We saw those commercials. Those mean kids bullying each other over the battleships game. And then when you're trying to win and you're so close and your freaking ships just get sunk because they cheated. It's always because they cheated.
I don't think I ever played with anybody that ever cheated.
I was just making that shit up and trying to be a little funny.
No.
I'm not very
funny. Grade 2, we were all about Battleship. We played a lot of it.
I know we played in class before.
Yeah.
But you're right, BMS comes in with some, like, political stuff, which I guess breaks it up a bit and gives something else. So not a man and governor get paid collecting off raids. All the cash was made from a brother, New York undercover. And that's a cool line because it comments on the system where all the money gets pilfered out from the hood. People get arrested. People get harassed. And then what do you think happens to all the confiscated drug money, guns, and all that shit? Like, what happens to it all? It gets sold.
It gets destroyed.
No, but like, let's say they take like $100,000 in drug money. Once it's all no longer evidence, what do they do with that $100,000? And then was it
maybe they give it to like
and then
I don't
maybe,
know what's the equivalent in the States like of like the Bank of Canada?
I doubt that shit.
They give it to like, you know.
I really don't know how it works, but I also imagine in the middle somebody makes $5,000 here and somebody makes a little bit there and dollars disappear and
for sure.
Anyway, I like that. Anyway, overall his verse is fine. I don't know if there's anything else because I don't feel like he was dropping the bars that were quite as potent as LP's, but I feel like he kind of gave us a break in the way that little instrumental gave us a break so that we got more LP and it was super dope. But that's not to take away from what he brings to the track. It's still really great lines. Yeah. I just don't have a lot to say about them, so I'm going to go over to LP's next verse where I'm going to have more to say. I'm getting fresh from my freeform, all hauled heart rocks down when I'm turning veterans to greenhorns. It's like, I don't know, man. I just kind of am in a mood where I want to hear about how LP's better than my favorite rapper and proving it. That's pretty fucking fun for me.
Okay.
Beat it. Make like a beeline. Be-lax. Which kind of sounds like wax the way he says it, be-wax, be-lax, you know, or you'll be outed, spit words that's really cold, pinch and lymph nodes, because when you have a cold, your lymph nodes get swollen up.
Yep.
Anyway, it's real good. I really liked it. It's a 5 on 5. Oh, one more, because fucking, you'll fuck rappers that freak a fable. I like alliterations. Phony will make them fall out. Frequencies painful. Run them as sonar. Code flows to call out your... You'll fuck rappers that freak a fable. So people who make up stories, phony, will make them Fallout. Fallout's a great video game, but no, that didn't exist back then. Or maybe Fallout 1 did. Anyway, phony will force you to fall out because if you're fake as fuck with your fables, and you're going to not essentially be able to hold the tenure you need. Mm-hmm. Frequencies painful, run them as sonar. So it's almost like all your fake shit's going to be advertised. And then we, as Confident Flow, we're the ones that are making it shine on you with our great flow and everything. Then the little outro at the end. And, oh my gosh, write a rhyme in Braille, send a fucking battle to your email. It's like fucking great. It's just like, oh, you're basically low-key tech. I'm dropping in what at the time was very new and fancy. Now,
I suppose, yeah.
Now it'd be like, you writing emails and I'm sending snaps.
Nobody sends snaps anymore.
No, there's a
they
whole
send,
market.
Like, TikToks or whatever.
So there are lots of ladies who have premium Snapchats.
Yeah. Now they'll have premium Instagram or whatever.
It's not the same as premium because anyway. And then there's lots of rappers and musician types that still use Snapchat. I see lots of people posting about Snapchat. Maybe I should be on Snapchat. Maybe behind that suit Snapchat. If you guys use Snapchat and you want to watch us snap,
I feel like we should be like on Insta story and not Snapchat.
We should do both.
Nobody's on Snapchat.
Anyway, I gave it a 5. You gave it a highest mark on the album.
4.4, I think, yeah.
Which is still pretty high, so I respect that. Mm-hmm. And this time, you're not a tragedy of war in 3 parts.
Excellent.
So this the one where in the middle, it just like flips up, which I guess is part 2 is like the interlude. So part 1 would be like Big Justice verse. Then there's like a transitionary phase. The beat kind of drops out into completely different, but nice, still fitting in the track way. And now P does the second verse. Bonnie, how did this song, how palatable was this song to your delicate sensibilities?
Well, they're talking about, issues regarding war and how, they're not necessarily fans of war and how it just kills, like, innocent people and, which is interesting, I guess. And, like, the lyrics definitely show that LP is an educated guy, like, just based off of, like, the references and the things that he uses in his lyrics. So I think that that's kind of cool. I like somebody that's, like, he sounds like he, was watching the news. He was, read a few books. He took a few classes or whatever. So I think I like this one. It's not bad. I give this one a 4.25 on 5.
I don't know. I like her a lot. I think Big Just also sounds very educated, personally.
Yeah. Him too. Yeah.
And I guess in light of current news stories that are going to probably still be relevant when this episode comes out, because I imagine it will have more news by then. I guess war is a fun topic to go on about. Yeah. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of war. I believe that a lot of the war that exists is related to two things. One, the military-industrial complex. So if you'll notice, when Trump fired a missile and it happened to attack a certain dude in a certain country, I just don't want to go too specific and get this video clipped on that front. We could talk about all the drug, sex, and violence we want, but if we talk about political stuff like that too directly, you know.
Yep.
But like the next day, all of the major U.S. military producing people, like the companies, went up like 38% stock value. So billions of dollars were just invented of money for these motherfuckers, because you know what's truth? War is real good for business as long as we all live after. I mean, it's not good for the people who die or the countries that lose or the parts of the world we don't see, but it's really good for a lot of one percenters.
I guess, yeah.
Anyway, the other side of the war, because there is, look, I don't want to talk too much about Trump as a Canadian who doesn't feel that my opinion should count for very much, and all of my Canadian friends with opinions who also couldn't tell you shit all about Trudeau are fucking morons, in my opinion, for where they're putting their attention. But something can be said to the fact that Trump seemed to be fighting the military-industrial complex, so they went to impeach him. Whether or not you believe in whatever, this isn't about Trump's policies, it's just some theory. And then what do you do when you get impeached in America? You drop bombs. That's what Clinton taught us. I'm just saying it. This is just classic shit, man. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. All of them are pretty terrible for this shit. Not one of them is better than the other in my eyes. Honestly, every president that's existed since I've been alive has done some shit like this or another. Maybe not Reagan. I don't know what Reagan did. Or no, Bush was a guy when I was alive. So yeah, that's what happened. Okay, back to the song. I don't know. Maybe people care about these tangents. I assume people care something.
Somebody cares.
Our sub count would drop if nobody cared.
True.
But it's think like dead rappers. Check it. That's a great line, because it's already been a whole album of the murdered rappers they have killed through their lyrics, but he's just relating the main subject and saying whatever we're about to talk about is smelly like a decomposing corpse. The rebirth, cyber warfare, biological, delve into my water world, overcome any obstacle. So alluding to war, but also alluding to the more modern versions of war, which is where it gets trippy and why this whole modern situation is a little eerie. In your body frame, we're aiming for the jugular. Kids take my styles like DEA to drug smugglers. That's fair. People jack his lines, and I dislike it because the DEA is attracted to drug smugglers. That's true. I thought it was super fun. Just the echoes of the past, the lyrical shaman, you rotten fat hoochies trying to glimpse the summit. In the wintertime, you ought to be killing stormtroopers, cluing your crew to exactly who done it. And then it just kind of feels a little bit in the same vein as what we've been talking about, but still kind of feels more battleistic, more war-themed in his bars of talking about how he's the illest rapper and other people are coming at him, almost like being an MC is like being in battle. Big just mind invention, the king battle of epic proportions, lyrical intrigue to master a contortion, optimized computerization virus, paradoxical acoustic sound bombing, my complexity weaves fourth dimensional in your mind. I'm like, yeah, my fourth dimensional mind's open and ready to go. Just to me, a lot of it just sounds really freaking cool. And I feel like he did a whole great verse, dropped it, pretty powerful. And then we move into LP's verse. The middle part's fine, some scratching and cutting. There's a couple words. Never before have you been able to witness so much cruelty live and in color in the privacy of your own home. And I guess it just kind of transitions into a heavier tone. When I walk, stomp out messages, MCs in the holiday, hollow chocolate mics appear festive, forbidden, got a stomach full of pop rops and thumbtacks ingested, deaded, similar to a Cold War, Asians is lock and cost effective. So it just, again, kind of feels like he's putting himself forth as the MC, but almost in a top-level way, commenting on war. And I think that's fascinating.
Yep.
That's what makes this track interesting, is they don't, like, they kind of have this, like, way where they're able to both basically fuck up MCs and talk about topics at the same time.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. considering most people don't necessarily do that. I like it when he goes, shit, alternative fuel combat conglomerates. That's fascinating because it's commenting on like the fossil fuel situation and things like that way back in like 96 because the oil fuels war and whatnot.
Yep.
I'm on it like shit is in a bag via colostomy. And I'm like, that's exactly what happens. You get a bag and the poop goes in.
Yep.
And it's just fun. Hostile macho stuck trying to get his buck an apostrophe, which is fun because he's like an aggressive male trying to get some commas up in his salary. And just the way he worded it is way better than I'm a young G trying to get rich. Nah, he put up a lot more effort in, but he basically said the same thing. I'm not dead pilot, a crop duster, head of a reservoir bound, drop the payload cargo packed by the Dow Jones, get you holed up in a marble chest in Rebels League, you're in your basic components of a mechanized style modular. And you can see it's like a systematic construction of how, in that case, it just feels like war is good for stocks and this is what's going to happen. And that's kind of literally what is going on in 2019 today, or 2020. We're 2020 now. I also liked a little bit later on when he's like, we all felt the pain and rage from migraines to chronic jaundice, stepped into the country bar flip and strictly ebonics, fell upon a MASH unit wounded, I practically froze and felt stony vision, I suppose. And so you just picture like wounded soldiers and shit going on. But it also feels like it can relate into the core theme of this album as they fuck up the industry and it's like the aftermath as they look at all these dead bodies. But it's also commenting on the state of war because I think around this time was when they were bombing Iraq for Kuwait.
Okay.
Do you remember that? I remember my dad making me like watch the news because he was telling me this is.
I feel like but it's hard for me to pinpoint. Like I was like what 9.
My dad would make me like sit there and go, "I'm telling you, if a bomb blows up this news van, you're gonna want to see it happen live." So he would watch it so that if the bomb would blow up whatever news van he was watching and whatever camera feed, he could be like, I saw it happen live. I shit you not. Anyway, I give this track a 5 on 5 again because it's pretty incredible. It's just well versed. The overall beat's just next level. It's very fun for me.
All right.
Well, not fun in the way that you would, joy and happy and lollipops, but fun and dope bars and great lyrics.
Okay.
Well, that's the fire in which you burn for this album and the passionate love you have for the dense lyrics. Fire in which you burn.
Yep.
See, Bonnie, my flow is over your head, and I enjoy an aerial view because when I spit my bars, I'm just saying for the song's sake, but in general, my conceptual philosophy has a flow and a congruency that's so freaking dope that it flies over your head, and I enjoy the aerial view I see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That was me clapping for me. How do you feel about this track?
This one's pretty interesting. It starts off with like some like serious like heavy like scratching and like mixing or whatever. And we have featured on this one Breeze Bruin and Jay Treads again. And Bruin is on the first verse, and I like his flow. I thought it was good. And then there's like this like sitar that's featured, which is, in my opinion, I'm gonna say that it's relatively uncommon in rap music. So far, I guess. Once hip hop takes off in India, maybe it'll be used more. So there's like a lot. There's a lot going on. I'm sure that there is
hip hop is taking off in India.
I'm sure I was as soon as I said it, I was like, I'm sure there's some dope ass fucking Indian music.
One of my dreams is to have one of my Indian friends bring me to India so I can ghostwrite and make a fuck ton of money. Because if you're a white guy over there and you can, or you know what, not just a white guy, if you're just not Indian and you're going into that music scene with the knowledge of American hip hop, there's probably a lot of money to be made behind the scenes.
That's interesting.
If you can find a connect that speaks the right language and's got your back.
Okay.
Anyway, good.
Random segue there. So yeah, there's definitely a lot going on sonically on this one, and it makes for like this sort of like loud, hyped song that's like very like direct and sort of like an attack on your brain almost, and like how sick they are, sort of they all are is like how is is sort of like the theme, like how great they are and everything, and like while still sounding like that sort of alien feel that is still carrying through, based off of the cover and everything else, that sort of weird eerie alien vibe sort of thing, and just sort of feeling like foreign, like maybe more like that in terms of alien on this one, and I think that there's some serious like animosity towards like the music industry on this one, overall, and I think because they have like such a unique flow and sound that isn't maybe like allowed, like air quotes, in like the mainstream like music, because it's just too bizarre and like people can't handle this kind of thing. So I think like I'm always there like with people who are like being put down by like the man, being, I'm supportive of them for that, that they're, still like fighting, and we're like, we still make kick-ass music, whether or not you're going to play us on the radio kind of feeling. So, it's wild, this one. And like LP is always powerful when he speaks, clearly and a little bit slower, on this one. So like I was able to like, get it a little bit more. So I give this one a 4.4 on 5.
At first I found it a little jarring because the thing that really fucks with me a bit is how the drum pattern feels like delayed in a way where it still feels like it's following a 4x4 timing, but it took me a second to find the pocket in a way where it made me really like respect them, because this would be like a braver beat where I could see how at like a first listen and this comes on, there are going to be a bunch of people I know personally who'd be like, yo, I can't do this beat, it's too hard. Like I'm like, that's cool, because they came in and they did this too hard beat, but when you're like listening to them, they're like right in it, they're right on time, it's like coming in and it's just perfect. But like it made me wonder if like they lay it down barebacks and build around them, or if they were just able to fucking rip it on this beat, because I know there's a whole bunch of ways songs can get created. Either way, this features a couple of friends. We have Breeze Bruin at the beginning, and he's aight. He comes through. Fucking with a person like myself, you learn Sphere. Laverne's gear shows your record, so unless the host butt naked, you's a loser, decrepit. I should have kept it to your lonesome, but you like, look everyone, I'm a silly microphone crumb. And I'm like, I like that. He's kind of again in the same general point as you said, pointing out the mainstream folk who put themselves out there on display and are not dealing with the consequences of that, as they point out how they're a bunch of jokes essentially. You want attention, bleed, a flan ascension vocally, first team all university while your squad is benching locally. It's the same vein as shit, but I'm like, I liking it. This is clever. This is freaking great. It's dope. He's gonna eat out your shorty with the crew. And I appreciate that. Again, there's cunnilingus going on. Like, these guys respect women enough to appreciate them as much as they want to be appreciated. And she be late for head. She want to tape and dreads and thought of you. A little stinger. My shit'll bring epitome. You're bitterly jealous. I just feel like the way he ran it, like epitome, you're bitterly. Like, that's cool, the way he keeps it running through. And the jealous kind of tying it up to the fact that he just enjoyed oral sex with your lady friend.
Ta-da.
And then just the idea, the way it ends the verse of Lauryn Hill phone sexing, I'm like, that's a funny line, because I don't picture her doing that. I picture her...
Not to a white guy.
Well, I just picture her, like, shaming you for phone sexing more than anything else.
I guess, but I mean, I think also, too, she probably wouldn't sleep with a white guy.
That's fair. I wasn't trying to sleep with her. We're talking about phone sexing. We're listening to it, so we could just be, like, passive pervs. Voyeurs.
You can be.
Cool. Then J Treads is back. Sounds dope as is the norm. Relentless poetic rhyme, never cease infinity. Forever smoking the mic, lyric contact. I be open, naturally high. No need to pass the Dutchie. I'm living circle, circle, dot, dot. Nobody can touch me. I kind of like the way he flowed that. So you get the sense of like poetry flowing through his bars. He's smoking the mic, but then correlates that. So he's killing it, but correlates it to the weed thing, which brings him to the circle. And then back to the point where it all ties in that he's so fucking good. He's just that dope. I do think some people could touch him, but that's in general is dope bars. I'm not posting the most high exalted mind blower when I rap this strictly. I can't believe he just said that shit. I would agree for LP. LP I would agree for. I'm not sold on J Treads. He's almost there. You know, granted, whatever. It's saying the bars, I'm taking it too far. But he did say, my flow's over your head. I enjoy the aerial view, focusing from the bird's eye. My scenario of dominance, defeating weaklings, we're bum rushing like dirty communists. So, like, in that case, bum rushing, it's always been one of those words where I feel like I know, like, what it means, like, but it just feels like you're about to fuck a man in the ass.
Okay.
That's what I picture every time a man says he's bum rushing other people. I know, I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm saying that's a no homo first if I've ever heard one in my life. Maybe it ties to like patois or creole or something like that, and I don't know that culture, so fuck me. But I'm okay with that. It doesn't make it sound less what it sounds like to me. There's a lot of rap bars that come off like that when you look at them 20 years later.
Yep.
Anyway, my words speak for themselves, so feel me, because on the mic I got more presence than attendance in a class of schizophrenics. I'm like, ooh, that's crazy, because there'd be a lot more personalities adding on the presence for every one person coming through. I'm like, clever. Anyway, and then you get the little chorus thing. You're like, okay, it's fine. And then LP comes through, and he does have like a slower, more aggressive shit to it.
Yep.
But at the same time, he does get his spastic shit, like when he's like, unstoppable objects hit unmovable walls and spaceplate, you know? The rogue cherub got his own twisted agenda. Catch that, walking on flat lines. He witnessed me grow way beyond corporate control. Let him eat cake. Ooh, did he just drop a Marie Antoinette bar in the middle of the shit, commenting on the vapid nature of the 1% and their treatment of other people while he's fucking shit up?
Yep.
Slipped, cause I introduced myself as a mistake, slipped through the quills with a serrated barb stab sharp in the gut. Now we can all become Lord of the Flies. So it's almost like he presented himself rich and fancy. It's like I said, oh, fuck that. Nah, let's get rid of it all and go down to the base bones, fuck it all situation of Lord of the Flies. It's very fascinating. It's very, like, dope to me, like, and you know how it's gonna be. The rest of LP's verse is gonna come in and smack you in the face like that. Bathe within my excrement, bitch. Parody. That's a great line. Like, bathe in my shit, you fucking parody. Like, it's just awesome. It's just awesome. Anyway, I don't have a lot more to say on his verse. They're all just great lines. Then Big Just comes through. It's the same kind of thing. I'm not certain. If you want it, I got it. He says it in that way, and I wondered who's the first dude to drop that "if you want it, I got it." Because when I hear "if you want it, I got it," I picture DMX when he goes DMX. If you want it, I got it. Come and get it. You with it? All you gotta do is send it, baby. They know what it is, even if you don't know what it is.
Okay, it makes me think of Ariana Grande.
Did we not do DMX's third album?
What's
my name?
I think so.
That's What's My Name.
Yeah.
You should know what that is.
I know what it is.
Unacceptable. So I heard that, but it still sounded dope. Chemically hemming up the seams. So I like that because he's like performing surgery in a sense using like advanced technology for like sewing and shit. With a poly epoxy type of mixture that be fatal if you sniff it. These stupid ones pop the microdots then lean into the sound's religion. And I like the fact that it's like he's pointing out these people who just get high and vapid and caught up, but also alluding to the stardom as much as drugs.
Yep.
It's very good. Anyway, I'm okay. I'm running out of steam on this one. I think it's a great track. Don't get me wrong. Sorry if I'm not going as deep. Lonnie's still going to kill me after this. 4.5 on 5. My notes are pretty fucking fire. It's burning my brain. Because it burned my brain in the best possible way. No, it's a great track. And once you get past like the weird timing, it's just really impressive.
All right, well, let's check out the Krazy Kings.
All right. This is Big Just's next solo jam. I'm going to be honest with y'all. This might be my least favorite track on the album.
Oh.
I got 4.35.
Okay.
That says something about the album. If my least favorite track got a 4.35 on 5.
I feel like you gave one of them a 4.
That was like a skit, no?
Either way.
Oh, you're right. I did give one a 4. But that one's special, and that's not like... That one was special. It was about graffiti art history. Okay, fine. So, 1 4 and 1 4.35, and the rest of the album is like next level. Spoiler alert, we haven't got to the other 3 songs yet. But what do you feel about this track?
This one sounds more jazzy and like something that you'd hear like sort of like in like the background. Like I don't know, it just had like an interesting kind of sound to it. I like some of Big Juzz's lines. My style's the man, like the Ku Klux Klan. Be from the deep down south. Don't let one of those little MCs get lost on the wrong route. Catch a Mississippi burning, fuck that, then catch an arson, landmines destruction, far rock away to Carson. So I thought that was kind of interesting and like probably like touching on like where he's from and like issues that were happening like for him, and like talking about, you know, the South and the KKK and, you know, Mississippi Burning, which was a, you know, a great movie.
No, but like what's really crazy is he calls himself the best, the way that we are definitively sure the Ku Klux Klan is the best at racism.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty fucking bold.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, so it's pretty interesting. I mean, just like the way his like lyrics are, I guess. So moving on then, like the chorus is like a very different vibe. It's not jazz-like at all. And again, like this one kind of sounds a little bit more, or not again for the first time, a little bit more for like a classic rap song. Like to me, like it doesn't necessarily sound like, not that it sounds like more mainstream, but like there's something about it that feels a little bit more classic-y, I guess.
There is something about this track that comes off where it like, I don't know, I felt like the album had like a real coherency. Like it felt like everything is the same up until this point, and the next 3 songs actually just kind of come off almost different compared to the rest of the project.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost you're
gonna see some higher grades from me over the next songs.
But yeah, it's like the first 15 were like company flow, and this is like, yo, I'm gonna be a big just my direction. I might be wrong, but it's what it feels like.
Okay.
Because this has like this laid back, like more skatery almost vibe. Like you can almost picture an aerosol can related to this beat. Like you almost want to go spray paint a wall while you're listening to this beat. At least I did. I mean, I don't really spray paint walls because I'm cowardly and I don't want to get arrested. No, for real. I get clipped on some charge for something. I can't go to the States and, well, there's not enough people in Canada to sustainably be any kind of entertainment individual. We really need access to the US of A as people in general. So I'm a little afraid to get clipped on something like graffiti, which I don't think is criminal. But you never, I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Either way, this one, he just kind of like blasts through on. This is where I felt like he's really smart. When I heard this track, it was like, damn, like real standout in terms of his lyrical ability. But it was mostly like the vibe and everything and how it fit into this album, mixed with it's late in the project, and I was feeling a teensy bit of burnout a little bit every time I would get to this track. And sometimes that just happens and it's gonna be the same song every time, because it's gonna be, that's the moment where you've hit your like, whatever, maybe I should have paused it, whatever. But like I feel like the vibe flows and it's a little like more knowledgeable here. Like we're not fucking up anything in the same, I mean, I don't know. I swing boomerangs and murder air attacks, blow busted internet access info at your back. Fucking fantastic, man. Like that's an early internet bar. You know, that's pretty cool. I can just picture like the Ethernet cord and blasting out information in terms of bars. Clip cuts you off into advance for your little cause. Pole position, my verbal contact, no life support. So it's the same vein of things. He's really better rapper. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way he raps it isn't slapping me in the face the way LP's been slapping me for a while. You may have noticed I've been really into that. I guess you could say LP makes me masochistic.
All right.
That's a soundbite. Somebody one day is gonna like make me look so fucking bad on the internet. I look forward to that compilation of the dumb shit I say. Oh boy.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
It'll be great. I say that sincerely. Some of it'll be painful. I'm certain I've said some dumb shit.
Yep.
But frequency feedback provide ammunition, and I like how that's frequency feedback is connected to just everything to do with software in general. Like a feedback loop would be how you optimize your flows of things. So the fact that he's just keeping it consistent is fucking dope. And then he is able to build on that, and it's like he listens to people and he cares enough to improve. The brain cells panic, so 2 tons of the IQ, and the energy starts to fornicate. That's when I punch through. And it's just such a cool way to look at it, like a creative process, and like how he builds it up within himself, ready to lash out. Overall, though, I don't know that a whole lot of lyrics like popped out at me as much as I felt myself just kind of bopping my head for a while. It's the classic underground styles out of urban masters, the Krazy Kings 3-finger casting sparking ties with. That stuck out to me. It seemed like a really fucking punchy hook chorus thing. And then he has the whole second verse, and I don't know, like, it's not bad. It's just I don't feel the same degree of passion about the lyrics, specifically, while acknowledging that it's still really as good as the other tracks. Like, it's not like this is actually bad or worse. It just stylistically feels different in like sound. So I guess I was less motivated to listen as hard. It feels like excuses. Anyway, the My Energy and Oxen, when I picked the combination lock, when in 1985 they injected me with rock, 10 years of misdirection, black killing, and back on the block, recuperating from the never-ending bloodshed of the war. Though my pockets remain empty, my soul remains pure. And I love the commentary on the hood and the situation with drugs, and how a decade later, even though he's not rich, he has the integrity to be pure. And I feel like I respect Big Just so much, and I wish I was praising this song more than I am. Anyway, it's really powerful. I strike a match for you $2 MCs that can't burn. This is for your own concern. I burn images and retinas for all you bitches faking. You couldn't download my multi-disc without penetrating. And I just love the fact that he lays it down. I like his geekier tone of language. I like the intensity in his lyrics. Like, when I read them like this, I'm like, yo, they're fucking fire. When I put it on, it's like, I don't know. I'm gonna give this track a 4.35. Like I said, I'm okay with it. I would recommend this to people. I just don't know that it's my favorite on the album.
Okay.
What'd you give it?
I give it a 4.4 on 5. I liked it. I thought their flows were good. It had a nice beat. It was, good song.
All right, and then the next track comes on. And this one fucked me up a little bit. It's called The Last Good Sleep.
All right.
I think part of the reason I had trouble with the last track is it's sandwiched between what I think to be just 2 really great songs. This song is fucking nuts. I've heard a lot of songs about abuse, right? A lot of people have written on this subject.
Yep.
I have never heard a song that made me feel like I was living it or coping with it the way that LP makes me cope with it, because this song is like pain memories, and the way he because it's such a stark deviation from the rest of this album. In like, oh, just so you know, I can tell a fucking story, but guess what? Still gonna punch you in the fucking face with every line, but it's not gonna feel the same after. You're gonna be kind of like, you feel mad by the time this song's done, like mad, and like you almost want to give LP a hug.
Yep.
Before I go through it all, and then you go, well, you've already said everything. Why don't you tell us about this one?
Well, I mean, so I'll give you like the synopsis. This is about his stepdad, who was just really abusive towards his mother. And this one definitely feels very like real and honest, like right away. You kind of know that this is like a true story or something similar that happened. And that this guy nearly killed his mother, in fact. And he feels guilty for not helping his mom and for, I guess not being there or whatever. And LP is like haunted by dreams of this guy and like what he's going to do, and that imagines that he's going to continue to pursue him until the day he dies, which is like a little thing that's like featured in the song, the way that kind of sounded. I mean, honestly, I like this one. It's very well done, pretty good. An honest and terrible story, unfortunately. I give this a 4.6 on 5.
Basically, it's like this song is it's one of those hard ones, right? Because you listen to this track and it's not something I feel you can throw on very regularly because the level of real.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever dealt with anything like that at all, like this.
Don't listen to this, like, it'll trigger you.
Like in the modern era, you would have to put a trigger warning. The events discussed in this track is so fucking real that you're going to relive your own experiences hearing this track. But holy shit, man. Just from the beginning, at night, I cover my ears in tears. The man downstairs must have drank too many beers. But one day you'll pay. And then I'm like, this gotta be about like his mom getting beat or something right off the jump. And then it doesn't like get there. The first verse is kind of vague. It starts to describe like the circumstance of how his mom ended up with the guy and the way he like paints the picture, like he's trying to empathize with her because there's probably some part that's like, well, your mom chose this guy, right? Which is a real, like if your parents ever date somebody that you're not particularly thrilled with and they're maybe not great to them, this is the kind of, you know, questioning at some point. There's the, well, she chose them part of it. Maybe not for everyone, but either way, doomed to this kid that you feel with anger, actions, disgust, mostly sick, most never have satisfaction. So it's vague. We know something bad's happened. And he kind of just flows through and, you know, questions like dwell the matter I must follow. Why you proposed only the lonely know. Swallowed my mother when she was hollow. Who can blame a woman like her, singular parent, when love already dissolved and the solution left polluted? So it's like it's like he's almost looking at it like his stepfather preyed on the fact that he found this emotionally broken woman who we find out has 2 kids and the father busted out and left it. So she felt like jilted and in need of love and support. And then he shows up and fakes some shit. But, you know, I like when he goes, knew you were Jekyll, the stepfather. Like pointing out, like, from I met you and I knew you were going to snap and turn from, you know, into Mr. Hyde.
Guy to,
like an absolute apple.
Yep.
Next to, bit my tongue on the issue. Next to stormy weather, enforced tolerance, but secretly vexed. Wish I would have spoken on it, but why deny the bliss? Mom's with a new husband, casting needles, puncture pressure. So he recognized this guy shady as shit. And in that moment, he didn't say anything, and he let his mom be happy. And that's probably where a lot of the source of his guilt comes from in the first place, feeling like there's something he could have done. Which, let's be real, there's nothing you could have done. You would have said some shit, and mom would have ignored him. And it would have gone down the same way. And, like, unfortunately, in these moments, people make shitty choices. And there's a psychological justification based on a reward mechanism of love and hate that can explain why abuse people stay in those moments and they're attracted to it almost. It's actually really weird, but I don't remember the name of the thingy, but basically the correlation of the highs and then you have the lows where the bad shit happens and everybody feels so low that when it's reinforced with the next high, you create this correlation where you know that the bad shit's going to be followed by the reward. So it's almost like classically conditioning yourself into accepting abuse because, you know, the love making after will be so much more profound. And I know how fucked up it sounds, but like if you Google that shit, you'll find somebody way more qualified than me explaining that with more accurate details.
Yep.
Anyway. But he kind of leaves it vague. You're in the family tree, come broken nuclear with termites corroded in your veins. You know, I like that. Like, you came in here, but you're going to fuck up the family tree. You're like termites because it's a tree. But the pain couldn't die with a throwing back whiskey sour. So his pain inside, he's feeling away. He's trying to, like, escape his own situation, but he can't. And basically crushing between rocks for at least an hour, crushing moms between rocks for at least an hour. So it's like right there, he's kind of, to me, it makes it sound like he's abusing his mom after he gets drunk. And then that's why, and then it's until the day I die. So it's not like maybe the moments happen until the day he dies. He's trying to really double down on the fact that the memories is something you're going to have to relive. And the truth is, you will relive your childhood memories basically until the day you die. My childhood was not great, and I have flashbacks sometimes that just like stop me, you know. And so when I hear That's Why at Night I Cover My Ears in Tears, the man, you know, it's like, I'm not trying to say my parents were like that. I'm going to say I had my moments that made me feel certain ways. But the man downstairs must have drank too many beers, and then he follows it up. Now every night of my life he beats his wife, making sure you're abundantly clear. And then in the next verse, you know, timepiece must have read early morning at least, so I lay death's cousin, woken by the sonics of the beast, that somewhere deep beneath me a fracture had seized my neck. Breath was it, a flight that marked my end to peace. So now it's like, so I lay death's cousin, because death's cousin is sleep. Sleep is the cousin of death.
Yep.
So he went down to sleep, he woke up, and it's like he realizes in this moment that it's over. Then he hears his mother cries, and it's not absurd, just routine that I'd learned. Just keep my fucking grill locked and hope the entropy stops the process. Stepfather's got to fight verbally when his liver's soaked, and products come in bottles stuck with drunken last nerve up too close. And so it sounds like at first, you know, like he's going through and he keeps his mouth shut and he pretends like he doesn't know what's happening because he hopes it's just going to kind of go away. But it doesn't. And then I can still see the distinction from the other night's lavish wire ceremony sparked again, a dry one in comparison to this one. So it's like this time it's getting more intense and it's escalating. Handing crutches to my psyche, I was tripping, huddling up, clutching sis. I think I heard a dress ripping. I should have reacted to that, but I didn't know the extent. Please, you could have caught him in time. Yet as my thoughts occurred to me constantly, now I've been digging in my head and I don't know what he wants from me until one of us is dead, I suppose. Basically this time he wasn't just beating her, he was like really fucking her up, like to the point where it was, I guess, a more intense beating or whatever, and like he could tell that this was like not normal. Like he's basically almost killed his mother. And then it kind of flows on. You get the chorus again, much more abrupt. I heard the silence erupt, but it was just a touch of love that I heard from above. The calm and the climate focused me. The dawn was a floozy, barely risen, but still beckoning to me. And so it's like, again, the next day comes around because that situation happened. The song of the night's events amused me morbidly. In a petrified state I wait to deadwood on duty. Just tempers flared, I figured woozily. When all is dead and done, I perish just as fucking happy as they choose to be. And so he's kind of like commenting now that there's the aftermath, and he's, you know, dreading discovering what's going on and almost absolving that this is like what they want. This is what she's choosing, you know, and they can't really do anything about it. Now, off to where the wild things dwell for shut-eyed, a prospect bored me, awoken by the stepsons coming towards me. A quick glimpse of my mother's dark silhouette in the hallway assured me, so I sunk with hope that hibernation would cure me. So it's, I guess, he's hiding out and trying to avoid his stepdad because, I wasn't 1,000% sure what happened there, but you get the sense that he's now trying to hide and dream and almost like escape through it all. The ignorance was blissful, just a recollection of the gift of innocent times from a merciful deception, woke so hazy landscapes to find my world defied my law's mandate, patching jugulars with band-aids. So it's like he's almost trying to wish and dream and forget, but when he goes to bed, he has to relive this like every single fucking time.
Yep.
And then, you know, has this, the way he like ends the second and third verse is like this conversational panning effect that goes on where it's like, I was young and oblivious, he almost killed your mom. If I knew I could have done something, you'll never see him again. But yeah, every night I see him and cover my ears in tears as he beats his fucking wife. And then it goes in and does the chorus again one more time. And then he says Scott Bivens at the end. I don't remember who Scott Bivens was.
Yeah, I don't think I know who that is.
Oh. Anyway, if you know who that is, let me know, because I really would. I forgot to Google it. I'll Google it in between the next two songs. I'll update you if I can figure it out. But basically, you're just left here having gone through the psychological trauma of LP reliving the experience of his stepdad almost killing his mom.
Yep.
And shit. And then I just think this is an amazingly brave song. Like, the vivid honesty, the parts where he's exposing the inner conflict and his guilt, that's the type of shit where I could imagine most people wouldn't be writing about it, but a lot of people have lived through moments where, you're sitting in your room and you can hear him yelling at her or whatever. You hear something get thrown across the room. You know, like you'll never forget it, right? So to hear LP like just kind of break it down and almost like you're not alone. You heard me and Big Mr. Tough Guy the whole way fucking through the album. But it's almost like this is why I have to be tough, to protect her, to protect the others, because I couldn't that one time. And it's like, it almost shows this compensation for his weakness in that moment, led and bred this exterior that we're facing today.
Yeah. And he's still like relatively young. So I'm sure that this is something that was probably recent in his life. Whereas, you know, if he were to talk about it now, he might, you know, have a different perspective on the situation, or I don't know, he'll have, you know, maybe gotten over it a little bit more, or doesn't feel so guilty, like in terms of that. I don't know. Interesting.
Oh, apparently the Scott guy is the stepfather who did it. So he like literally says his name on the track. But yeah, no, it's like, it's crazy. I don't know. Like it's like you go through this whole album and you're like, already this is pretty next level. What are they going to do to surprise me? And then Big Jess gives us this like deeply philosophical track right before, and then LP drops a journal entry that'll bring a tear to any Stoic's eye.
Yeah.
It's a 5-on-5. Like, it's unforgettable. Like, of every song on this album, I will never forget this track the most, because it leaves such a powerful imprint in terms of, you hear it once and you're already like, how are you not tearing up? Like, anyway. What'd you give it?
I gave it a 4.6 on 5.
That's basically a 5. Bonnie barely gives grades above 4.5 to albums she likes. Yeah, so there's like one more real song and then one more outro DJ cut thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the next song, and it's okay. It's a little more positive in terms of tone and stuff. Let's talk about Info Kill 2.
Okay.
There's something about the beat to this song that is triumphant. Like, I feel like victory. Like, you go through this whole album journey where it's aggressive, it's combative, it feels almost like you're fighting as you're going through it in terms of the energy. You get some deeply emotional shit, like, at the end of the day. Because if you look at it, right, the last two tracks that we had before this is both of these men showing, like, almost a level of depth and maturity to a higher degree than the previous 15 tracks on the album. Not to say I wasn't mature, but like as men, less braggadocious, more like enlightened almost.
Okay.
In terms of just like a maturity point of view, my perspective. You can all disagree. And then we get to this moment where, at least from a musical point of view, after that level of emotions, it's like it lifts you right back up again, because Confident Flow won. They're victorious here, is what I feel in terms of the emotion of this song. And then, they do their thing. We ease right back into it. I imagine you are going to go, they're going to talk about how they're the best again. Yeah. Because they are freaking amazing. Let's do it, Bonnie. Tell us.
Honestly, like, I had no idea what this one was really about. Like, it just had, like, sort of, like, this eerie and, like, weird sort of, like, feeling to it. But it's still, like, an interesting sound. And, you know, like you said, about them being the best and all of that. And, but the first verse seems to be, like, also sort of about, like, a apocalyptic world or something, like, that's going on. Like, and, like, it has, like, so that feeling to it.
The bigger imagery, the more sci-fi top-level theme of this album.
Of course. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's all, like, related in. Like, I know that's, like, what it's all about. So I think that's kind of cool. Like, it definitely has, like, that vibe. It's like something, it's like whatever it was that was building up has happened, and now we're after, like, sort of like, you know, like, this is like post-apocalyptic, like, we're over this is like the next part. I think,
well, it feels like the end of chapter 1, but foreshadowing that it's like we may have won this battle, but the war has just begun.
Yeah, I mean, people just want that company flow shit, apparently, and, like, that's what this is about. So, I give this a 4.3 on 5.
I like it. I just think from, like, again, like how I prefaced it with that like feeling that the beat gives you makes it like like it's gonna be a good time. And then I do love Big Just's imagery. I don't feel like I've given enough credit to his imagery because I've been geeking over LP's wordplay. But behold, in a dark universe, chasing shadows into the burning season, slave to a sun pharaoh. That's actually pretty fire, right? So it's like he's painting out this picture into the burning season, you know? Like you picture the heat, but slave to a sun pharaoh because the pharaoh had slaves. Icon holding a diamond encrusted Jesus. So it kind of relates it back to how, I guess rappers do that. Everyone did have diamond-crusted Jesuses and shit at one point. Do people still do that?
Yes, of course.
I don't know if Jesus is cool like that right now. I mean,
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, like, I'm not trying to talk negatively about Jesus because I actually find that annoying when people do that shit. But there was that period of time where it's like, I'm rocking a diamond Jesus piece because I got and it just seems like a weird thing to put diamonds on. Like, it seems like that's anti-biblical.
I don't know.
Well, if you read the Bible, it's definitely not in the vein of the humility.
Well, I don't think you should be wearing a necklace with him on it with diamonds or otherwise.
No, there's an argument to that.
Or I guess like the crucifix, like the one where he's like...
That could be argued as idolatry. In fact, one of my biggest issues with Catholic churches is the amount of vain idol worship the crosses and the saints and all this shit. Like, it just seems... From my understanding of what blasphemy is and idolatry is, that, and then there's the parts of the Bible.
But I think it's more for remembering.
But then there's the parts of the Bible where it's like all men are created equal and no man shall be elevated above another man. So if that's part of Jesus's commandments, how the hell are we elevating all these saints? Like, we know better than God. That's some fucked up idolatry, blasphemous shit, in my little opinion. So I'm sorry if you're Catholic and I offended you. I'm assuming I'm sorry for the people who might find this clip one day, but like, I actually have a lot of trouble with the idea of going to church and seeing the idols, because when you read the book and you hear why it's there, it's to make sure you're humbly focused on the right shit, as in God and, self-growth and improvement, and not vainly worshiping the materialistic things in like vain symbolism.
Okay.
Such as empty crosses and beautiful stained glass art. And anyway, not what anyone was expecting here, but just stuff I think about.
Okay,
anyway,
very good.
So please stop, check, and suck my rated 50 are in these war becomes hell still to these guns blazing a 10-hour shift swings who I hear thoroughly knowing to rip shit, grab the rags and towels and swing their cast back, see lab bomb, autopsy report, terrorist type attack. Just feels like he's describing the cataclysmic shit that just happened. Like he's reporting on it is what it feels like in the rap battle that just went down. It's just really great, man. I feel like he comes through and paints that picture. Honestly, because it says graffiti crazed individual, rock steady in all his fury is one of the last lines. And I'm like, the more I think about it, Big Just's verses in a lot of ways do feel like graffiti murals in the way that he spits it. And I respect that, actually. Like, it really makes me appreciate everything about him a little bit more now that I think about it like that. Anyway, then LP comes through. Who disperses poisonous crackers with Jim Jones? That's a great line, because Jim Jones was one of the dudes that had the suicide cults with the poison Kool-Aid.
Yep.
I can't remember which one it is. I think it's the one in Africa. Jonestown?
It wasn't in Africa. It was in South America.
Right. But anyway, yeah, Guatemala. No, one of those places.
It was in like Bolivia or something. It was like in South America.
Anyway, 1 minute of verses, the beats, the spot zones angled out. Murder, kill, death, sucky, bitch, cock. Murder, kill, death, sucky, bitch, cock, and that's your best shot. And I like that because it's almost like symbolizing the simplistic nature of everything that a mainstream rapper is going to say with like those 7 words, and that's all you really got. Strictly Freudian the way I see another crab fronting and within the in block. So it's like another crab in the bucket, faking it, copying the trend, but Freudian in the base impulses and lower tiered intellect in what they're dropping in their shit. Basically immature. I fucking like that shit. I know that I'm totally geeking on LP, but what can I say? When the honky spits that geeky shit, it just attracts the honky who likes the geeky shit.
Yep.
Like that dung beetle squirming around in the residue of my math. That's fantastic. Like, just the idea that like whatever's left over of what he fucking breaks down is just shit. And even that, the design burned into the support beams that contort into alert mode, seemingly geared a whole squad of Hiroshima for preference for using my blueprints as a point of reference, because he's so dope that he caused atomic level bombs. It just is great. It goes on through like this for pretty much the rest of it, and I really appreciate it. I feel like these dudes are like ready to go, and again, like it just, you're feeling like the battle's just done. They're standing victorious. They're just spitting their shit at you, letting you know what's up, and that they're ready to go again when it's coming through for the next one. And I just think this kind of ends on such a high note. It's such a great track to like finish that up on, and it's a 4.7 5-on-5. It isn't quite the 5-on-5, but it's definitely better than the 4.5s.
Yep.
And I guess that leads us to the last one, and I know you want to announce it, so why don't you tell me about it?
Funcrush Scratch.
I'm scratching her for the people in the audio stuff.
Yeah, thanks. It's really nice.
I think this is cool because ending on like an instrumental DJ scratchy style track feels like a deliberate way to almost relate back to the time before the corporate executives fucked up hip-hop, we'll say.
Yeah.
Because like if we think back to a lot of those earlier albums that we've covered in like that part, there would be a lot of these tracks that ended on some kind of a instrumental, almost like come down on, or it'll be the shout out outro track. And I feel like this just serves its role. It's just like a couple of minutes of an excellently constructed instrumental with some great scratching and whatnot through it.
Yep.
And it's just like this reminder of, it almost like, again, it feels like it's calling back to another time, but like in a deliberate way, like this is how you're supposed to end an album.
All right, that's cool. What'd you give this one?
I gave it a 4.5 because it was pretty freaking sounding great. And then I like just how it ends on the "don't touch me there." That
like
little
it ties
line,
back to like the beginning.
the very beginning, when it comes through, and just the level of like thought and the detail to give you that experience. Like basically this whole album was them touching you there.
Interesting.
And then, you know, when you're a mainstream little wimpy artist, that's your response. Don't touch me there. So it's like it kind of makes you feel like at the beginning, they're the gruff, aggressive motherfucker who gives a bunch of kids who are just being like schooled, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what this is. It's just some mixing and scratching, as like the title anticipates, and it's like it's good. I think it's a nice way to end the album. I do think it definitely ties back to like an older time. I gave it a 4-on-5.
Fair enough. So yeah, after the almost, I guess, 4 hours of talking about this project, there, 3.5. I'm like, I don't have a lot more to say on this little outro. It's scratching, it's excellent, it's well made, and it's really good compared to the other versions of that I've heard.
Yep.
I get an album of 4.644. This is an amazing project that I think it sets a standard for like how dope it could be. I take into account that this is like 96, 97.
Yeah.
So, I
think it came out July 1986, so 1986.
I saw somewhere where it came out something, whatever. I'm just being safe here. And like, it basically, the beats sound so timeless to me. Like, you could put this album on today, told me it came out today, and outside of some of those dated bars where like you might, like nobody's making Hoffa bars no more. But like, outside of that, it really is just great. The concepts are powerful. The level of creativity in how they rap and how they adhere to like the core tenets of like what a dope verse can sound like. It's like they listen to all the old shit where it was either creative storytelling or great bars, and then they just said, nah man, we're gonna fucking come through like we battle rappers taking on the whole industry and drop in like what I would say pretty fucking top quality stuff. Like when I think about the mainstream side, yeah, there's a lot of great bars, but like I don't know, this is hitting me. And like as a person who like loves English the way I do, this is one of my favorite projects I've heard. Like I heard it like 10 times before we did the review, and I'm absolutely coming back to this project. Maybe you do have to be a little bit of a language geek to appreciate it, and you also probably are not going to like this if you're a pop fan who has no exposure to underground hip-hop, because this shit's anti-pop in a way where like
Yep.
you really have to appreciate the energies and like the more punk elements of what they're doing here, the more purest form. What I think what they've done here is makes everything I feel about the weak nature of underground fast rappers hating on mainstream shit and validates it, because I'm like, yo, if these two guys could drop this shit way back then before Google, and we all have Google now,
Yep.
we could make better bars if we wanted to, because we have better access to information, learning, and knowledge. Everyone can. It's not like as gated as it used to be.
Yep.
So I'm just sitting here going, this is extra impressive because of when it came out. And it's absolutely a classic. And it's absolutely in my top albums list when one day I make that list and figure out what I really like or not. But this, how could it not? Like, it's just so amazing.
All right, well, that's very cool. I gave this a 4.06 on 5, so an 81%. So, I mean, I suppose it is a classic. It definitely, it did its part in advancing, hip hop. And, like, I like that it also touched on the graffiti side of things. Like, that's part of hip hop. And, especially them being from New York. I like that all of that kind of ties together. I appreciate that. The mixing, everything. And it's fun. It's an interesting album. It's definitely acoustically interesting to listen to. Like it plays with like your sense of sound, so or your sense of hearing, I guess. But yeah, I mean that's it. It's cool. I like LP older so far.
She likes Run the Jewels better than she likes Company Flow. That's what she's trying to say.
Yeah.
Because they're not the same. They might
I
tap
know
into the same thing.
I know.
But Run the Jewels is a little glossier, a little shinier.
What can I say? I'm a basic bitch.
It's fair. Run the Jewels is dope. She got that dick in her mouth all day.
Yep, that's what I like.
I'm not hating it. Thank y'all for watching. I totally appreciate y'all being here with us. Let us know what you think. Run the Jewels, Company Flow, which do you prefer? In general, let us know what you think of this album. I know we already got a cool comment where somebody was expressing on another video just their joy of buying this on vinyl and how powerful it is and how hard-hitting this album is. And so I look forward to just hearing your experiences with it, because as a person who discovered it like a couple of weeks ago, my experiences were, well, you just saw me talk and gush over it, but if y'all who've really taken the time to like memorize it and like really think about it, like y'all probably have a way deeper appreciation than I do. So I look forward to seeing what y'all want to say. Like the video if you did, dislike it if you didn't, subscribe to the channel for more reviews, and special thanks to the patrons: Ismelga Dempsey, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricane, Lindo Williams, Coney Sparks, and
Scribble.
I like the way you said it. I can't roll my R's like that. So they helped us get a new camera, helped us get on Spotify, which costs money, helped us with lots and lots of stuff over time that will help us, I suppose. I also got to tell us what albums to review, so the next Classic Quest is going to be a DJ Black Hurricane request as we talk about a Beastie Boys project. It's going to be real fun.
Yep.
And we're late, so we're going to get it done as soon as we can, but had to get through Company Flow. I just had to do it. This was a Holden request. Anyway, so we appreciate y'all. It's really amazing. And if you want to join that club and have me say your name all the time, you can do that too. I make music myself. I got a project I'm working on. I released an album in October, and then, life just moves on. I'm currently trying to network with my city by interviewing everyone as a way to get some plugs along the way, because it's who you know, right? So if you interview everyone, that's a good move. Just giving you some advice, people, if you build yourself a platform. So thank y'all for being here. We look forward to another amazing year with y'all learning about music and trying out new content and testing, and who knows, maybe we turn into foodies and you just watch us cook, and that's what Behind That Suit is next year.
You can cook, sure.
Nah, that's probably not going to happen. We're going to do album reviews. Live long and prosper, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Cooking would be fun.
See you soon.
Prosper.